It's Palestine's country, not your country, you piece
how are
of
you?
shit.
What's your name?
One day, your time will come and you will die the most.
You actually got a really beautiful eyes.
Oh, thank you,
but
man.
I'm so upset that you're Israeli. Like, eventually you're gonna get killed and you're gonna go to Jahannam, inshallah.
I have a question. Let's say an Israeli. God
I won't
forbid.
treat them. I won't treat them. I'll kill them.
All right, folks, this is Harris Sultan. What I'm about to show you doesn't shock me or surprise me because as a former Muslim, I know this all too well. We are indoctrinated and brainwashed with this nonsense from a very young age. And no, it's not because of the Israel-Palestine conflict. The hatred Muslims have for Jews outdates any current conflict. I actually made a detailed video on that. Let me show this to you. Just look up whether Jews really happy under Muslims. I gave historical references from Islamic sources. Check it out for yourself. Oh, and I think a rabbi has made a video on that too. I don't know. I haven't watched it. Is he discussing me? Because he's used my thumbnail. Anyway, so the founder of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, had a special kind of hatred for Jewish people, for the Jews of Arabia. Why? There are many theories about that. One of the most prevalent one is that the Jewish people were more stubborn in their faith. They would ask tough questions and sometimes they would stump Muhammad, and Muhammad had really hated them. This is why there's this Quranic verse that says, "Oh, you who believe, do not take the Jews and Christians for intimate friends." Muhammad actually softened his stance on Christians later on because some Ethiopian Christians came to Muhammad and they just heard him speak for a few minutes and they converted to Islam. Or so the story goes. I think it probably happened. That's why he actually then said, "Oh, you know what? Christians aren't that bad. It's the Jews you got to watch out for." Let me show you this. And you will certainly find that the people most hostile against the believers are the Jews and the ones who ascribe partners to Allah, meaning polytheists. At least Jews get to live as second-class citizens under Sharia. But if you're a polytheist, nah, you have no option. You either convert to Islam or you have to be killed. Anyway, you will certainly find that the closest of them in friendship with the believers are those who say we are Christians. So Muhammad softened his stance. See how he used to change things as he went along? First, he said, do not be friends with Jews or Christians. In fact, they're friends of each other. They're so bad that you can't even befriend them. So that's how it starts. And then some random Ethiopian Christians come and they convert to Islam. And he said, you know what? Christians are not that bad. Anyway, everything that I'm showing you has got nothing to do with the current Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So Muhammad really hated Jewish people. Look at this. It says, the Prophet said to Hassan, abuse them with your poems. There's a Quranic verse, chapter 2, verse 65, that says that those people who broke the Sabbath, Allah turned them into apes. And there's another Quranic verse, chapter 5, verse 60, that says that Allah turned them into apes and swine. Muhammad was particularly harsh on Jews. When he conquered the Jewish tribe at Khaybar, he imposed a 50% tax on them. 50%. More than he imposed that on anyone. And that's not it. Have a look at this. Prophet Muhammad said, do not give the people of the book the greeting first. So don't say, hi, how are you? Don't say that to them. Instead, force them to the narrowest part of the road. As I said, I made a detailed video on that. Go check it out. But hatred for Jews is encoded in the doctrine of Islam. And all of us, as Muslims, we all grow up thinking that Jews are the most evil people. Everything bad that is happening in the world, there must be a Jew behind it. That's the genetic or ideological makeup of Muslims as far as Jews are concerned. So now that you understand the context, let's have a listen to the video in question.
You know what? Oh, shit.
How are you, man?
Good, how are you, my man?
Pretty good. Are you a nurse, a doctor?
I'm a doctor, my man.
A doctor? For what?
In hospital. What about you? Where are you from?
As it turns out, he's not even a doctor. He's a wannabe doctor, but he's not a doctor. He's a nurse.
From Israel, from the Holy Land.
You know what? I'm going to be really honest with you.
All right.
I'm going to be really honest with you. You actually got a really beautiful eye.
Oh,
thank you, man.
I'm so upset that you're Israeli. Like, eventually you're going to get killed and you're going to go to Jahannam, inshallah. But like, these pretty eyes, they should stay in this world for longer.
Oh,
why do you think? Why do you think I'm gonna get?
What a way to insult somebody. You're like, oh, you got really beautiful eyes. I want these beautiful eyes to survive, but too bad you're an Israeli Jew. Damn it.
Killed.
It's Palestine's country, not your country, you piece
how
of
are you?
shit.
What's your name?
One day, your
Wow.
time will come and you will die the most... Listen to me.
peace.
Listen to me.
And
when
you
your,
spread
when your
death.
time comes...
How are you doctors? Wait.
I want you to remember my face.
Okay,
so
okay.
You can understand
Gotcha.
that you will
I have
die
a question
the most
though.
disgusting death.
All right.
Oh, you're gonna die a disgusting death. Oh, wow.
Sure, I have a question though.
Yeah,
I have a question. Let's say an Israeli, God forbid,
I won't treat them. I'll kill them.
you'll kill them. So if an Israeli is in Australia and God forbid something happened to him and he comes to your hospital, would you kill him?
You have no idea how many Israeli Khara dog came to this hospital and I sent him to Jahannam. I literally sent him to Jahannam.
So a lot of people are acting very shocked and surprised at this behavior of these two Muslims. I'm not shocked at all. People like me have been telling you for the longest time that these people have a different set of values and they don't abide by your Western values. They don't share your Western values. So at the surface level, it might seem like it's because of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. As I said, it's not just because of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, even though these people might believe themselves that, oh, we only hate the Jews because of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. But no, it's been going on for 1400 years. Muhammad killed 300 Jews in a day and took the women as sex slaves. He imposed 50% tax on them. And his lieutenant, Umar, expelled all Jews from the Arabian Peninsula. Let me share that with you. These are Sahih Hadiths. These are the most authentic sayings of Prophet Muhammad. It was narrated by Umar, who was the second caliph. If I live, this is what he's saying, if I live, God willingly, I shall certainly expel the Jews and Christians from the Arabian Peninsula. And then there's another one, Jami' Tirmidhi 1606, Sahih Hadith, that the message, and now he's quoting Muhammad, that the Messenger of Allah said, if I live, God willingly, I will expel the Jews and Christians from the Arabian Peninsula. There was no Israeli-Palestinian conflict at that time. So anyway, as it turns out, the guy that you saw is actually an Afghan refugee. This guy, look at him. He's an Afghan refugee. He came here on the premise that the Taliban are in power. I don't want to live under Sharia. I don't want to live under the Taliban rules. So please let me live in your beautiful Western secular liberal democracy. But I will still behave like a radical Muslim. If you ever needed evidence that why you should never import people en masse from cultures that are inherently hostile to you, then this is it for you. Now, again, I'm not saying everyone is like that, but I'm saying every Muslim is capable of this kind of behavior. They're capable. Again, they might think that they have genuine grievances like the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but no, you know what? Don't listen to me. Listen to Muslim scholars. Have a listen.
أو كرهنا لليهود من منطلق عقيدة. القرآن هو اللي بيدعونا نحن نكرههم.
See that? Our hatred of the Jews is based upon our faith.
أو كره منطلق عقيدة. القرآن هو اللي بيدعونا نحن.
The Quran tells us to hate them, not to love them.
لو أن اليهود
If the Jews left Palestine to us, would we start loving them?
لا طبعا.
Of course not. We will never love them. Absolutely not. Your belief regarding the Jews should be first that they are infidels, and second, that they are enemies. It goes on and on. I've played these videos many times before. So that was an Afghan refugee who came here begging for a fresh start, away from the Taliban rule, but started behaving like a Taliban. But what about the other girl? This is how the woman's brother reacted when a journalist from the Australian, a respected Australian newspaper, went to interview them. Why can't these people behave like normal, civilized people? Why can't he say no comment and just go away? No. Have a look.
Hey, mate. Get the fuck off my property! I'm on public property. Now! Why are you shit? Get the fuck off I'm on public property.
That's very colorful Islamic language.
Now! What do you have to say about the allegations that Sarah... Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Well, I'm on public land. Hey, mate. Mate, listen to me, brother, all right?
Listen to me, brother. Boom, I'm going to punch you. Anyway, this didn't go unnoticed. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said this: the anti-Semitic video circulating today is disgusting. The comments are vile. The footage is sickening and shameful. These anti-Semitic comments driven by hate have no place in our health system and no place anywhere in Australia. These individuals have been stood down by New South Wales authorities. They have rightly been referred to the New South Wales Police for criminal investigation. Individuals found to have committed criminal anti-Semitic acts will face the full force of our laws. Now, I think the New South Wales Health Department have said that they haven't found any evidence of that male nurse killing any Jews, but I don't know how reassuring that is. Imagine you're a Jew and you go to the hospital and you run into Dr. Muhammad Abdul and you're like, oh shit, does he know I'm a Jew? Uh-oh, he knows Eli. That's a Jewish name. He knows my name. Oh my God, is he going to kill me? What do I say? Do I say that I need a different doctor? Oh no, that would be too racist. So no, I'm just going to take my chances. I hope to God nothing happens to me. And he's going under, he's giving anesthetic. Uh-oh, imagine that. It's actually pretty pathetic. Anyway, as I said, hatred for Jews is an Islamic doctrine. And as you heard from the Muslim scholars themselves, that even if they got Palestine the way they want it, they would still hate the Jews because it's in the Quran. The Quran tells them to hate the Jews. Muhammad told them, whenever you see them, push them in the narrowest part of the street. But we have these Wokistanis who just want to not confront the reality. They just want to sink their head in the sand and keep ignoring the problem and keep thinking that the problem will go away. And you know what's heartbreaking? I have seen this unfold in Britain. I've been watching Britain for 10, 15 years, and this is what's been happening in Britain. And now it's starting to happen in Australia. I've been saying that whatever happened in Britain is going to end up happening in Australia if we don't do anything about it. And the reason why it's happening so brazenly is because our lefty governments don't do anything about it. Just 2 days after the October 7 terrorist attack, the Muslims of Sydney came out in front of the Sydney Opera House and they chanted, "Gas the Jews." This is it. Just 2 days after the worst terrorist attack on Israeli soil. And that's what Muslims were doing. No condemnation. They didn't even bother to stay quiet. They're awfully quiet now after this video. No Muslim organization has come out and unconditionally condemned this behavior of these two Muslim nurses. No. And when this happened, the government didn't do anything. Nothing came out of that. Nobody was deported. Nobody was arrested. We heard some voices of condemnation, but nothing happened. And because nothing happened, and the similar things happened all around the Western world, in London, New York, Toronto, they kept getting more and more emboldened. They kept coming out more than before, and they would come out, they would wave Hamas's flag. They would not condemn Hamas. They would call Hamas freedom fighters. They would glorify Hamas. And our governments, oh, sorry, they have free speech. Really? That is not free speech. This is violent speech. This speech is encouraging violence. I know it's difficult to draw a line beyond which line it's not considered free speech. I know that. I am also not in favor of hate speech laws because I think the more you police speech, the worse it gets. But glorifying terrorist organizations should be punishable. It should be an offense. And if you're born overseas, I would say even if you become a citizen, cancel your citizenship. I don't care. Because this is literally challenging the very social fabric of the countries that made these countries the best countries in the world. So that's how bad it is. That's how bad things are getting. So after the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan, a lot of Afghans fled Afghanistan. And again, as usual, they didn't go to other Muslim countries. They fled to Western countries. And in the West, our lefty governments, draped in the colors of humanity, flung the doors wide open for these people, unchecked, unvetted. This is what happened only a couple of weeks ago.
Chilling pictures tonight of a gang of young cowards wanted for bashing a defenseless lifeguard at an area warrant.
All of these guys were Afghan refugees. So you wonder what kind of scum have they led into Australia? Let me remind you, earlier this year, we became aware that the Albanese government has taken in 3,000 Gazans. They show you photos and videos of poor, innocent old women, and they say, oh, look, these are the people who are fleeing a war zone, so we should take them in. They appeal to your good nature, which is fine. Look, I'm not against that. But as it turns out, they did not vet any one of them. Asia, the Australian intelligence organization, said, we have not vetted these people. We have no idea who these people are. We have no idea even if they're affiliated with Hamas or are sympathetic to Hamas. We don't know anything. 3,000 Gazans came in. So this is what we're seeing 2 years after we open the floodgates of Afghan refugees. Imagine what are we going to see in 2 years' time with these Gazans. I'm telling you, the lefties are ruining the whole Western world. I can't wait for the next elections. This Labour government has to go.